Welcome to Brett Ridgway's Learning for Life. This is Lesson 3, Part 3 of Miss Mcleod's Reel. We're going to be talking about chords. And what we're going to do is show you the chords. And we're going to do it a little different. Most of the time when people do chords, they just learn the chord progression. In fact, I teach a workshop that tells you how to anticipate possible chords. But people don't really hear the chords. So what I want to do is, instead of just taking the whole song, I'd like to take each phrase, just like we learned it, and put the chords to each phrase. So here's our first phrase. And that's going to be all G, that first phrase. Here's our second phrase. Now, this is going to be a D chord. Now, I tried singing this. I can't sing it. If you want to sing the tune in your head. But again, here's your first phrase. That's all G. This is D. If you remember, the first phrase is identical. The third phrase and the first phrase are identical, almost. So you're going to play G, and this is going to be your C. Then G, G, D, G. So what I'm going to do, and again, the chorus is the same. This is G. This is G. This is D. This is G. Here's our C. G, D, G. So we're going to play that, and I'm going to play the MIDI very, very slowly. So remember, it's first phrase is G, second phrase is G and goes to D, third phrase is G, fourth phrase goes from G to C, a quick D and back to G. I think there's a G in there. So let me just play it for you. And you're going to hear this. We're going to do it very slow. We're going to have an 8-beat count in. Starting with G. Here's our second phrase. Listen for it. We're going to go to D. Back to G. Go to C. G, D, G. Repeat. First phrase is all G. Second phrase starts with G, goes to D, back to G. Now we're going to go to C, G, D, G. The chorus is going to be the same. G. Second phrase, going to go to the D, G. Here's our C, G, D, G. Repeat, G. I really want you to associate it with a melody. We're going to go to the D, C, now go wherever you want with your chords. G, we're repeating it. G. Now at the end of this, we're going to the D. Here's your D, G, up to C, G, D, G. Here's your G. Second part B, it's all G. Now we're going to go to the D, G, C, G, I jumped out on that. G, now we're going to go to the D. Now I'm going to stop, and I want you to listen. This is all G. If you go here, listen to it, down to D. You can hear it in the melody, G. To your C, G, D, G. Listen again. I'm going to let you do it on your own. So I hope you could hear and see how this works, hearing the chords with each phrase of the melody. I'm going to give you another practice track all the way through 3 times. We're going to bump the speed up just a little bit, just to give you that, so you could practice the chords. But I'll bump the speed up a little bit. You could also practice the melody with this. But I'm hoping that you start, we're going to be doing this now where we'll start applying the chords to the melody so that you can start hearing the differences and the changes. I want to thank my patrons for their support, for their help. I could not do this at all without my patrons. I do this full time. I don't get paid to do this. I don't have an income other than music, whether it's festivals, but it's this. And the way that I'm able to do this, the reason that you are able to have these lessons absolutely free of charge. Almost 200 lessons. By the end of this year, there will be 200 lessons or over. The reason you'll have that library is because there are those willing to give back. At the $5 level, when you enter the patron support, that's $5 a month. That gives you access to, you already have the lessons, whether you give a penny or not, but it'll give you access to other Patreon lessons. And I actually have reserved, in the first year, I reserved all the best lessons for the patrons because they were the ones who are supporting this. Last year, I didn't do any patrons. I'm reinstating that. But you will have access to all the exclusive Patreon material. You'll get a sticker that says, I support traditional music, Brett Ridgway's Learning for Life. You're also invited to a monthly Zoom meeting where we do workshops, jams, answer questions. If somebody has a problem, we go over what that problem is. I know this coming one, we're going to talk about hearing chords and also how to use a metronome. So I hope, and by the way, that'll be passed by the time you get this lesson, but those are some of the things that we discussed. So thank you, patrons. Thank you to those taking the lessons, sharing the lessons, commenting, leaving likes. All that is appreciated. But it's the patrons who make this happen. I want to thank them first and foremost, and anyone who might consider becoming a patron. Have fun with this. We'll see you next week for your practice tracks. Before we go, here you go. One more time, all the way through 3 times.